The question is, will this protest be too little, too late, or government will budge to the workers' demand? Cosatu says government doesn't have a right to dictate to workers how they should manage their pension funds. However, there continues to be massive resignations among public servants in a rush to cash in on their pensions, and this may cause a serious burden on the fiscus in future. In December last year, President Jacob Zuma signed a new tax administration law that allows retirees access to just a third of their money and the rest to be invested in annuities. Now, Hettie Joubert is a legal advisor at MMI Holdings, and she joins us in the studio to discuss this further. Thank you very much for joining us.
Welcome.
Tell us about your interpretation of this concern by Cosatu. They think they're going to protest this, but do you think that they are justified in their cause to say they don't want to be told how to use their pension money?
They're not really being told how to use their money. Firstly, one of the misconceptions is that a member does not have access to his money when he resigns. Now, that is not true. There's nothing in the Act about that. If a member resigns or he gets retrenched and he's in a pension or a Provident Fund, he can still take everything out in a lump sum.
But this is an interpretation. If you are retiring today and you have planned that you're going to spend R1 million in a certain project that you had envisaged to achieve when you retire, if you say I can't access that amount, you are telling me that I should not use my money that way.
Just remember, on a Provident Fund, it doesn't mean that from the 1st of March, on the 1st of March, you won't have access to the whole million. This is a phased approach because there's a thing called de minimis, which means that if your money from the 1st of March up to the date of retirement is less than 247,500, you can still take everything in a lump sum. So let's look at the practical example. If on the 1st of May you retire, then you won't have in that pot of money an amount that's more than 247,500. So you'll probably still be able to take everything in a lump sum anyway.
Some workers feel that there's a generalization there here. Workers are being painted with the same brush that they're going to waste their pension money when they get all of it. And some are saying that I'm not going to misuse my money and I'm not going to be burdensome to government when it's finished.
Unfortunately, the research shows the exact opposite. There are so many members that think if they get a lump sum, they can invest it better than, for instance, an insurance company. But the statistics have shown that it doesn't happen like that. They get preyed on. They're very vulnerable. They don't really have the financial expertise. So they do spend it on stuff that they shouldn't have. And then by year 2 or 3, they're totally destitute.
What about then the employer at this stage? Do you think that there are all arrangements in place to implement this law? Are businesses ready?
Most of them should be ready, but there's a few things that employers should do. Firstly, they should make sure that the fund administrator can accommodate all these changes. They must make sure that the payroll service providers can accommodate the changes. And then there's a thing in the Act that says that your vested benefit consists of all contributions made up until the 1st of March. That's what the law currently says. Now, it might change, but it might not. If it stands as is, then your contributions for February, you must make sure that it gets to the fund before the end of February, not in March. Because if it goes in after March, as the law stands now, it will go to your non-vested benefit, the one that will be subject to the 1/3, 2/3 split.
Why do you think workers are perturbed by this new law? Why do you think they are on panic mode, thinking that the government is going to take their money? Because now there's an element of trust involved here.
I totally believe it's misinformation. If you were to sit down with a member of a Provident Fund and you were to explain to him exactly what the impact on him is, it might be more positive than negative. Example, currently a member in a Provident Fund that makes a member contribution doesn't get a tax deduction on that. From the 1st of March, you will. So the immediate impact is his take-home pay will be higher. Now, if you tell somebody that if the law goes through on the 1st of March, you will have more money to take home every single month, I'm sure he will be excited about that and not have a negative perception about the change.
Okay, now let's recap. I want us to take a composite figure and look at the implications of this new tax law and how it's going to be implemented. Let's say the pension payout is on average R2 million. And looking into the tax implications as well, how is this going to benefit the worker?
If the benefit that's subject to tax is 2 million, firstly, you're going to get a 500,000 tax deduction, not tax deduction, the first 500,000 will be taxed at 0, and then the rest it's phased in. So you're not paying full tax on the full benefit. The 1/3 you take in a lump sum, you can do with that whatever you want. The other 2/3, you can buy a pension, which means that you still get your money, you just don't get everything in one go. You get it paid over your lifetime to you, so somebody else administers the money on your behalf, and that somebody else probably has more financial acumen than you have. So you should be thankful that somebody that knows better can manage your money for you.
Now the question, what if I need more than 1/3?
You cannot get more than 1/3. Remember, if you resign, you can still get everything in a lump sum. So if you, for instance, were to resign 6 months before you get to retirement, you can get everything in a lump sum. The drawback, though, is that you will only get 25,000 as a tax-free amount, whereas if you waited until retirement, you did the 1/3, 2/3 split, you could have gotten 500,000 tax-free. That's a huge difference.
So what do you say to somebody who is sitting at home saying, I want my money now, I want to go? What's your advice?
Do you really want to take your money that's supposed to look after you after your retirement now by resigning? You're not only doing that, but you're also giving up your right to get payment every month, because if you don't have a job, you can't expect to be paid. So you're giving up your job and your future retirement for what? For money that I spend now on what? I don't think you should even consider that.
All right, let's leave it at that. Well, Hettie Joubert is a legal advisor at MMI, and she is talking to us about the new tax law and its implications for the workers. Well, you've heard for yourself, and it's your pension money, so you decide.